He's predestined to use his free will. I like it. All right. How was it having multiple teachers for one class?
Incredibly difficult for me to actually pay attention.
Because
Because every time I see a new teacher, my brain thinks it's a different subject, so I have to start from scratch every single time I see a new teacher. They don't have broken brains, so.
I collected so many quotes from the last guy.
from Jonas.
You can't find it looking at the sky hook. Bro, it's an awesome one. You gotta actually use the word.
We gotta pull up one of his quotes from yesterday.
Jonas is, he and I are both from Tennessee. He's just still very Tennessee.
I got it. Killing's not murder. Murder is wrong. I told this to my kids. Murder is wrong. Killing, it happens.
It's not untrue.
Here's another one.
Oh, good. Because I don't get to hear enough from Jonas on a regular basis.
Say it with confidence, and everyone else will think they're wrong. It's confidence, not competence. And then followed by Nathan's amen. That's Jonas on pronouncing Bible words.
I really liked, can't look at guns.
All right. We're going to jump in here because we've got some ground to cover. I'm going to try and give you some time to prep as a team, which I'm sure you've been doing already.
Uh-huh. Sure.
Do we still get 45 minutes?
We'll see. It depends on how many questions you ask.
Is this going to build on yesterday's topic about the prodigal son?
No, that's all Jonas ever talks about is the prodigal son. Every sermon from Jonas will end up at the prodigal son, I promise. So
Basically all about the prodigal son.
that does not surprise me in the slightest. And I'm excited to tell Jonas that. All right, a couple things. What have you done with your daily reflections?
They're all in. We had two,
I've also
and they're
done
somewhere in
redone them all.
So you didn't turn any in.
Nobody said to. Yeah, and a homework changed once.
All right. What about the Jesus is statements from Hebrews?
Yeah.
You realize I need it.
A lot of is.
Can I just have your journals? Can you just turn your journals in? I'll read through them. No, I'm just kidding. Yep, that would be perfect. You could take a picture of it, yes. Or at least I assume you could. If you know how to take a picture of it, you can take a picture of it.
Verses and just be like the chapter.
Oh, no, you need to tell me where it came from. Yeah. So 15, Jesus is statements from Hebrews. You finished that. It's all done, and you're golden, and you can send it to me. Okay.
Send it to the Think Wave, right?
Isn't that the platform you guys use? Oh, great. Do any of you know how to use ThinkWave? Raise your hand if you do not know what ThinkWave is. Okay, I see that hand. Yes, I definitely have an email that you can send them to.
And then what all are we sending on the email?
Your 1 to 2 paragraph reflections. All right, here it is. Jonathan, Jonathan, the only right way to spell it, at church.ak.org. You can send the reflections and the Jesus is statements from Hebrews there. That will be added to the grade from the debate today. And your grade for the debate today will be a team grade. Okay?
I mean, we don't think Andy's firewood, so I don't know if that's gonna work.
It's okay.
She did help us do.
I don't believe it. So you're going to be gone doing firewood. Anybody else want to go do firewood instead of the debate? Yeah, I see. Okay.
Technically, Daniel's gone from our team because he left already.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Here we go. We got to jump in because we got to cover some ground so we can get to the debate stuff so that we can eat donuts. I have donuts. Donuts go with debates. 2 John, introduction, written around 90 AD. John is imprisoned on the island of Patmos. This is presuming, and I think it's reasonable to do so, that John the Apostle is the one who wrote 2nd and 3rd John. Extremely short letters. And he is not one to spend a lot of time writing. In fact, he says at the end of both of them, I don't want to write anymore with pen and paper. I want to come and see you. He will be released from the island of Patmos. He's there under Domitian. And then he will end up, most likely, as best we can tell from the writings of people like Irenaeus and others, that he ends up in Ephesus and lives out the remainder of his days there. The theme of 2 John is really abiding in truth. In fact, 2nd and 3rd John both, he is driving at this idea of truth. So I want to take a look. 2 John chapter 1, verses 1 through 3. The elder to the elect lady and her children, whom I love. If you say it with a smooth jazz voice, it sounds awesome. In fact, most believe that there are two theories, right? That this is to a church and he's using sort of cloaked language. But most scholars believe this is actually to a woman who is a leader in the church that he is writing to and addressing some topics. 3rd John is definitely to a church. The elder to the elect lady and her children, whom I love in truth. And not only I, but also all who know the truth. Because of the truth that abides in us and will be with us forever, grace, mercy, and peace will be with us. So because of the truth that abides in us, also grace, mercy, and peace will be with us from God the Father and from Jesus Christ, the Father's Son, in truth and love. I want to break this out a little bit differently. Pull the middle piece out. He says, because of the truth that abides in us and will be with us forever, grace, mercy, and peace will be with us in truth and love. What's the difference between truth and love?
Truth has hard facts, love cares about the person. So they speak the truth in love.
If you don't speak truth, are you loving? So you could have truth without love, but you couldn't have love without truth being present.
That depends on the love.
So love is like a subcategory of truth, kind of?
I'm asking you. You should tell me.
Worldly love is usually misinterpreted there to go, oh,
Wait. Is worldly love love?
not really, but they think it is. So they'll interpret it this verse in their opinion,
Who's they?
the world.
Those people out there.
Those people searching to find the truth to
This
the
is-
well.
What's interesting to me in this passage, John actually describes the truth as something more than a simple set of facts. John describes the truth as something that actually abides. The truth abides in us. What John is identifying here, when he talks about truth, he is talking about God, Jesus, the gospel. He's saying, this is the way, the truth, and the life. Truth actually abides in us because truth in John's description is a personage. So, hearkening back to Jesus saying, I am the way, the truth, and the life, he says the truth abides in us. If the truth abides in us, then we actually love. This is why, in light of the debate we're going to have in a little while, we love facts. Facts aren't truth. In fact, we often love facts because we love just being right. But truth is something much bigger than that. you ever met people who say things like, I'm just brutally honest? Like that's a personality type or something. What I've discovered over the years is that people who sort of lean into that, I'm just brutally honest, they actually love brutality more than they love honesty. Because you can be honest and loving. In fact, you could be honest and more compelling by being loving. But it's sort of a way of claiming an identity that actually isn't rooted in love. And what he's identifying is that actually truth is a personage and rooted in love. Truth would produce love if we're talking about the truth of the person of Christ. He goes on, he says, I rejoiced greatly to find that some of your children, walking in the truth, just as we were commanded by the Father. And now I ask you, dear lady, not as though I were writing you a new commandment, but the one we have had from the beginning, that we love one another. And this is love, that we walk according to his commandments. So the old, if you ever heard it, DC Talk song, Love is a Verb. Like love actually requires action. My family started observing a Sabbath, I don't know, 20 years ago, something like that. And we've added little elements to it over the years. We kind of started with, my wife makes the challah. She actually made it last night. She'll braid the challah, and we light the 2 candles. We read the passage, typically from Leviticus or Exodus, and from Numbers or from Exodus, and we'll read the passage, and we stand up. My wife lights the candles, and then we spend a 24-hour period. We usually start in the evening for our family. It goes from the evening, typically on Thursday, to the evening on Friday, and it's been just an absolutely extraordinary experience for our family over the years. It's probably one of the things that has helped us survive in ministry. One of the interesting things about the Sabbath command is he says, remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy, 6 days you shall labor and do all your work. Like not 6 days you shall labor and get some of your work done, but like get it all done, like do your work. 6 days you shall labor, do all your work. 7th day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On you shall not do any work, neither you, nor your son, nor your daughter. You list all the things. And then at the end it says this. It says, and remember, you were slaves in the land of Egypt. And the Lord brought you out of there with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm. Therefore, for that reason, observe the Sabbath day. He's saying, you couldn't even rescue yourselves out of slavery. What makes you think that taking a day of rest will make you less productive when you couldn't even rescue yourself? My family, every week when we stop and we observe a Sabbath, we're reminded that God doesn't need us in order for him to accomplish what he's trying to accomplish in the world. He actually invites us to join him in what he's doing. And when we stop, and when I don't answer my phone, and when I don't solve all the 10,000 problems that come my way every day, when I stop doing all of those things, I'm reminded that he actually doesn't need me in order to get them done. He isn't dependent on me. I'm dependent on him. And I come back to that next day, and I'm like, I get to join him in what he's doing in the world versus he needs me in order to accomplish what he wants to accomplish in the world. The reason I bring that up is this. The 2 Sabbath commands, the 2 candles that the Jews light are remember and observe. In fact, I had this ring made in Israel. It's what it has on it in Hebrew, remember and observe, which for the longest time I felt like was sort of the same command until you realize they're 2 very different things. I can remember the commands of the Lord and yet not do them. But when both those things come together, this is love, that we actually walk according to his commandments. Every Jewish boy and girl knew the commandments. You probably know the majority of the commandments. But it's not enough to remember them. We actually have to live it out. This is a theme that John has over and over again, is that love does. Love that's rooted in the truth, that's grounded in the truth, actually takes action and accomplishes. John describes the truth as something that requires obedience and results in love. Because love is not an emotion first, it's action. It's a way we behave towards one another. Verse 7, for many deceivers have gone out into the world, those who do not confess the coming of Jesus Christ in the flesh. Such a one is the deceiver and the anti-Christ. Let me ask a question. Who would deny in this day, right, back then, who would deny that Jesus of Nazareth actually lived? I mean, I can remember, like, as a kid, I can remember hearing, like, on the History Channel and stuff like that, like, we don't even know that Jesus of Nazareth really was a person or he really existed. Now it's just nonsense. Like, everybody in the world, Christian and non-Christian, knows that Jesus was a real person, that he really existed. Why all the way back here in 90, not that, I mean, there are so many people who personally knew Jesus, right? Like, why would anyone deny that Jesus of Nazareth actually lived? Well, they wouldn't. This statement that he's addressing here, that they who do not confess the coming of Jesus Christ in the flesh, I don't know if you know this, Jesus' last name was not Christ.
What?
I know, it's going to come as a shock. Christmas is coming and all that stuff. But, like, what he's identifying is what they're denying is the divinity of Jesus. Not that he lived, but Jesus, the Christ, lived in the flesh. I would say it like this. They're not denying the existence of Jesus. They're denying the coming of Jesus as the Messiah, which, by the way, is what every cult does. It's a denial of the divinity of Jesus. It's a denial that he came as the Christ, as the Messiah, as the deliverer. And already in the church, these people are creeping in, and John is addressing this issue. He says, watch yourselves so that you may not lose, there's that word, you may not lose what we, or some translations have you, what we have worked for, but may win a full reward. John warns them that denying the deity of Jesus could lead to losing something they had labored for. But you'll get into all that in your debate in just a little bit. 3 John, same time frame, same location, same author, but he is dealing here with truth and error on display, and he's going to address 2 individuals. Actually, he'll end up referencing 3 individuals, but 2 in particular in the church. One who is modeling what Christian charity should look like, and the other who's modeling what narcissism and selfishness looks like. So here he says, the elder to the beloved Gaius, whom I love in truth. See, it wasn't romantic in the other one either. Whom I love in truth. Beloved, I pray that all may go well with you and that you may be in good health as it goes well with your soul. For I rejoiced greatly when the brothers came and testified to your truth, as indeed you are walking in the truth. I have no greater joy than to hear that my children are walking in the truth. Truth is a big deal to John, which also means that there's error, that there's falsehood. I had the opportunity to plant a church in Homer, Church on the Rock in Homer. I've been in the community that we had lived in for a long time. I lived in that community before my wife and I were married. Our son was born in that community. All 3 girls we adopted were from Homer. Like, Homer's been home for a long, long time. And came up, I was the youth pastor at Church on the Rock for a few years. And then the opportunity presented itself to go back and plant a church with a bunch of my friends in Homer, which was like a dream come true for us. And so went back and planted the church. And about 5 years into that, Church on the Rock up here in the valley went through a major leadership transition. And they reached out to me and asked if I would come back and take the lead pastor role here, which I had, let's see if I can remember right, zero interest in doing. And yet, my wife and I were like, we should pray about it. We should ask the Lord, is this something you want us to engage in? Because we were having a blast. I mean, if you've ever been to Homer, Homer's the jewel of Alaska. Like, it's on the ocean, you got the mountains, it's like, it's a weird combination of like hippies and commercial fishermen and homesteaders and Russian Orthodox. Like, it's just a crazy cool place. We've been there a long time, a lot of friendships there. The church was just going great. We were loving what we were doing. So we began to pray about returning and doing the role that I'm in now, which I've been in for 12 years now. But coming back and leaving the guy that I planted the church with in charge, which I had every confidence Aaron was going to do a great job. But I'll tell you, I can feel this last verse 4. I have no greater joy than to hear that my children are walking in truth. To start something and then to have to leave it when it's a bunch of people you really love and to watch it flourish, like to watch it grow in your absence, and then to be able to go back from time to time and just see it. My son moved back to Homer. That's where he was born. Our 2 grandkids are down there, and he's attending that church. Like, you couldn't imagine more joy than to see something you've invested in, something you've given birth to, actually continue to thrive in the truth. That's what John's describing. I mean, he's imprisoned on the island of Patmos, but he's getting reports about all these things he's invested in and what God's doing in those places. This is my observation. Knowing the truth is only valuable to the degree that we walk in the truth. Now, listen to what he says. Beloved, it is a faithful thing you do in all your efforts for these brothers, strangers as they are. So they're traveling missionaries, itinerant missionaries, evangelists. They've come to the community. Gaius has received them and blessed them, who testified to your love before the church. You will do well to send them on their journey in a manner worthy of God. For they have gone out for the sake of the name, accepting nothing from the Gentiles. Therefore, we ought to support people like these, that we may be fellow workers for the truth. How many of you feel like God may be calling you or inviting you into vocational ministry? Anybody? Maybe. How many feel like ministry of some form is what you want to be doing after you're done at Bible school? Yeah? Okay, more? How do you believe that people who are in vocational ministry should not be paid? How do you believe they should be paid?
They believe they should be paid?
Yeah. Interesting. Well, go make some tents.
I don't think that they have to be paid, but I don't think it's biblically wrong to be paid. I think it's a good system if someone's helping out, but I don't think that it's like I think the church should support them, right? I don't feel like they necessarily feel like they should feel entitled to that.
Okay.
It reminds me of that verse that's like, don't muzzle an ox while it's treading out the grain or something like that. I feel like doesn't that kind of apply?
Yeah. I mean, it's an Old Testament passage, right? In the Old Testament, it means don't muzzle an ox when it's tread. But brought into the New Testament context where it's used again, that's exactly what it's talking about. Yeah. This is an interesting topic because, like, if you've seen the religion business guy, or any of that sort of stuff that's all over social media right now, there's sort of this huge campaign against, in fact, he literally says, anyone who receives pay in ministry will be corrupted. Which is kind of weird to say when you think about it, because you wouldn't say that anyone who receives pay in a construction job will be corrupted. Okay? One of you would say that anyone in the construction would be corrupted. Oh yeah, I've done construction, commercial fishing, but it isn't the pay, it isn't the wage that corrupts you, right? It's the Red Bull and the pot, mostly. So he's just addressing here, listen, I've instructed these individuals not to take anything from the Gentiles because they have a specific ministry to the Gentiles. But we should be the ones, the believers, probably the Jewish believers specifically he's addressing, that make sure these kinds of people are taken care of so that they can spend all of their time and energy continuing to do the very thing that they're doing. And what he's saying to Gaius is, good job, you did this. Here's why he's saying it to Gaius. I have written something to the church, but Diotrephes, who likes to put himself first, does not acknowledge our authority. Can I just tell you, if you say yes to vocational ministry at any level, if you say yes to leadership, period, you're going to face this. There are going to be people who don't like you, who disagree with you, who whatever, right? This is the stuff that they didn't teach me in Bible school, that people are going to write 13-page letters and then send them out to the community describing all the evil things you've done that you haven't actually done. Like it's just going to happen. You can't get wrapped around the axle about it. Like, you just got to move on. You got to allow it to assess you. Is it true? Is it false? And then grow. But he says, here's what John's going to do, which I've wanted to do lots of times. So if I come, I will bring up what he is doing. I don't know when you're supposed to do this, but like, there are lots of Sundays I would love to get up and do this. Like, hey, I just want to tell you, Jim's an idiot. I know he's sitting right over here, but what he's doing is wicked and evil, and here's why. Like, nobody does that in church anymore. But like, back here with these guys, they were like, oh no, we're not letting that stand. You want to play this game? Let's play this game, right? Like, go ahead, defend yourself, Diotrephes. Like, oh yeah, that's a lie. Right? Like, I have photos on my phone that prove that right? I mean, there are lots of Sundays I would love to have this happen. Like, it's a terrible idea. But for some reason, in the early church, dealing with this kind of stuff immediately and publicly was completely acceptable. It's a challenge, I think, as a pastor, to know when you should address an issue from the platform that you have and when you shouldn't. I have a good friend, Dave Eubank, Free Burma Rangers. I was in Thailand with him a few years back. A lady in the church had written a scathing letter to me because she was offended that we had found out that she was having an affair and told her that she couldn't be a missionary anymore. So she wasn't at all happy about it, and wrote a scathing letter to me and about me. And I had read the letter, and then I had written what I thought was a brilliant and witty response to it. And I let Dave read it. And Dave's an old military guy, and he's reading through the letter. We're standing on his balcony at their compound, and he takes forever to read it. And I'm like, dude, can you just hurry up and tell me how good it is so I can send it? After a little while, he looks over and he says, you haven't sent this yet, have you? I'm like, no, but I was about to. I just wanted you to see it. And he says, yeah, I wouldn't send this. And then he says this to me. He says, you don't wrestle with pigs. You both get muddy, but only the pig likes it. Like, they actually love this fight. You don't wrestle with pigs, you both get muddy, but only the pig likes it. And then he proceeded to describe what happens when you stand up and you try and defend yourself in front of a group of people. And this is absolutely true in my experience. I can see it, at this point in my life and ministry. There were probably in this room of 500 people, 10 that knew anything about this situation. But the moment I stand up and choose to defend myself publicly or to call them out publicly, every person in that room. He said, imagine you're looking out in the room and the blue flags are the people who know about this issue and the red flags are the people who don't. You got 10 blue flags out there. Maybe you got 20 blue flags out there. But the moment you stand up and defend yourself or try and say something about this situation, you now have 500 blue flags out there. Do you want to draw everyone into this? Like, how do you know when a situation is worth addressing publicly? I'll give you two things. One, when it isn't about defending your name. I love what A.W. Tozer has to say about that. He says, he who defends himself will only have himself for his defense. But he who allows the sovereign God of all the universe to become his defender will have the sovereign God of all the universe as his defense. When it's about defending the church, when it's about protecting people, maybe it's the right thing to do. But if it's about defending me, it isn't. And the second thing is, how much damage is it doing? Sean Parnell, who was our governor after Sarah Palin stepped down several years ago, I had lunch with Sean here a while back, and I realized that like Sarah felt like she needed to go public and defend every single thing that was said, and it came off like catty and angry and aggressive. And so I asked Sean, because I never saw Sean doing that in the papers or in interviews. I just said, how do you know when you stand up and say something, when you address an accusation that's been made against you? And he said, if my team believes that this accusation or this article or whatever is going to do catastrophic damage to our agenda, then we'll say something. Which reframed for me what's worth saying something about and what isn't. There are always going to be people who are hurt or wounded or offended. I have to be able to discern, am I defending myself? If I am, then I shouldn't. And then I have to be able to discern, is this a big enough deal that it would actually take us off mission as a church or as the church? And then I can consider whether or not I publicly address things. John sees this as a real issue in the church because it's actually an issue of generosity. Are you willing to care for those who come and serve among you? And you've got a guy in the camp who actually just loves hearing his own voice. And so what he wants is everybody to listen to him and reject any spiritual authority outside of his opinion. That's a problem. It has to be addressed because it affects the whole church and the name of Christ.
Along that note, when is it appropriate to make an accusation?
Against,
Or not even an accusation, if you feel like it is based in something to like make it an issue. Because like you have the one time an accusation is made against you, then is it ever right to say such and such is involved in whatever?
so step one is always Matthew 18, right? I can just tell you this. I tell our staff this. I tell our church this. If church leadership would apply Matthew 18, 9 times out of 10, an issue would be resolved. Matthew 18 is, if there's something between you, someone else, go directly to them. Don't go to 3 people that you need to pray for you and then put it on your Facebook page, right? Like, go directly to that person and have the conversation. I'm just telling you, the vast majority of the time, whatever it was is resolved in that face-to-face conversation. You either see repentance or you recognize there was misunderstanding. But I'm just telling you, the vast majority, almost nobody does that. People always need to talk to a few people before they go to the person. I just assume anyone I talk to, that person will know that I talked to them. And when I go to talk to them, I'm no longer, even if it's just the 2 of us in the room, I'm no longer just going to them. If they know that I talked to 4 other people before I came there, now they're trying to figure out how to defend their name against the other people that I talk to that they don't get to talk to, and we aren't having a conversation with just the 2 of us. That's why it says, go directly to them. Hey, I haven't talked to anybody else about this. I wanted to come to you first. Matthew 18, right? The whole process is laid out there. If that doesn't work, take someone else with you, not someone else who agrees with you. Someone else who can help the 2 of you hear what both of you are saying, right? Someone who operates as a mediator. Okay, just to clarify, I don't think that's what he was saying. Is that what you were saying? No, that isn't what I was saying, right? What you want is someone who's helpful, not a team, right? So now you're going to take someone with you. If that doesn't work, then you bring it before church leadership. If that doesn't work, then you stand up and you tell the whole church, right? I'm just telling you, like, there are maybe 1 or 2 situations in 30 years in ministry where I think that last step has ever been necessary because it was resolved back here just by doing Matthew 18. So, beyond that, right, the scriptures are pretty clear on this issue of confronting leadership in the church, and that is, you got 2 or 3 witnesses who are all acknowledging the same thing, you've got to bring it before the church. I would just say on a personal level, personal offense level, you got to do Matthew 18. And if we would do that, we'd be shocked at how many other people would do it too. But if we're not going to model it, nobody will. Because it's scary. But Jesus gave it to us for a reason. Okay, we have to keep moving. John 1, verse 11, beloved, do not imitate evil, but imitate good. He's referencing back to the distinction between the way Gaius is responding and the evil man. Whoever does good is from God. Whoever does evil has not seen God. And he gives a shout out to Demetrius, has received a good testimony from everyone and from the truth itself. The truth is a personage to John. We also add our testimony, and you know that our testimony is true. All right. There you go. 2nd and 3rd John. Are you ready for donuts and debate? So let me give you a couple things first. General Epistles, Debate 2020, 5 objectives. I want you to discover what civil discourse is like. And then I want you to build value and respect for differing views, I'm going to use this word, on the non-essentials. I know, is eternal security a non-essential? Yes! Anyways, okay, carry on.
That's exactly
This is really important.
non-essential issue.
So if you were to go to the Apostles' Creed, if you were to go to the foundational things, would you say that the church that believes you can lose your salvation is not a Christian church? Is not a cult, right? But the way we engage with one another, we give off all the vibes, right? That you are a total pagan, not just an idiot. Like, if you believe this thing that's different than this thing that I believe, I actually think it's really important that you're able to build value and respect for differing views on the non-essentials. There are non-negotiables in the Christian faith. They're just precious few compared to maybe what you think they are right now. And then secondly, some reminders. Definitions matter in your debate. I'll give you an example. Sovereignty. My guess is for the majority of you, you mean something entirely different than I do when I say the word sovereignty. I actually mean sovereign, like historically, generation after generation, we have referenced a king who does not control everyone in the kingdom and yet is still sovereign. So give your definitions, because definitions are often where the confusion is eliminated. What I've discovered over the years, I don't know if you've heard this, if you ever get lost in the woods, say the word free will and a Calvinist will show up to argue with you and you'll be rescued. We mean different things by the words that we use. It's actually really important that you give your definition. Otherwise, we're talking past each other, right? So definitions matter. Respect communicates value. And value communicated actually creates opportunity for real and meaningful conversation. Okay? So these are the things I want you to discover. This is what I had for teams. Does this look right? Except for that half of the people are out loading up firewood.
Is that correct?
I think Jalen's name is misspelled.
Well, I didn't spell it. Somebody gave it to me.
A lot of spelled too.
Okay, how do I spell Jalen? Whoa! Whoa!
That's not how you spell my name at all.
You guys are against free will, right?
Jae
Oh, affirmative, yeah.
Lyn.
We're saying free will is true.
Anybody else need their name corrected?
We're choosing to say it's.
K instead of a C.
All right.
We're choosing to argue this point.
No, you were ordained
Hey, our whole argument is pathos, so be ready for that. Show emotion.
All right.
Wade's name is spelled wrong too.
Who?
Wade. They spelled it quad A.
Where's Wade?
It's the very last one.
That's what? That's super weird. Is it just the classic WADE?
This is Quaid.
Q. Oh boy.
I love that
A.
guy, but I think he's one of the worst spellers I've ever seen.
Trust me.
Pretty bad when they got on the board.
He was a
Like
good
Cameron turned into Cameron.
No. It's right. It's correct. I'm Cameron.
You up there is Cameron. Where is he?
Right.
That's correct. We're all good.
So above is Rachel.
You can leave it like that. It's not like anyone's gonna confuse it for anything.
Here we go. There, I made it. I fixed it.
Rachel should be Rachel.
Okay, I no longer care. Do you know who you are? As long as you know which name goes with you. All right, so.
It's not that deep.
It's Ken.
Oh, look, you can't see it anymore. Too bad, so sad. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Organize yourselves. We're going to put 2 tables up here on either side. Audience out here.
Who's going first? The free will debate?
It is, oh, and let me give you this. I printed these out.
You guys print?
These are just the debate format stuff
I prepped
in its
my
own
choice.
document. There you go, there you go, there you go, with a few minor changes.
I was kind of confused on what reflections we had after a certain point. Some of them were in class assigned. I know I did all of them, but I'm not entirely sure what parts of my notes are the reflections. And so I tried, and when